Hi friends, welcome to Soulful Spinning. My name is Lisa and this is my channel where I share my creative endeavors with fiber, knitting, spinning, weaving, all things textile related. I'm coming to you right outside of the great city of Chicago in the Midwest, where we're having a spectacular 1st of February. We hadn't seen the sun for weeks, it seemed, and all of a sudden this morning it was glorious, 40 degrees Fahrenheit, and just beautiful. And I have just enough light here in my basement to record this afternoon. So yeah, happy St. Bridget's Day. I was talking to my friend Susan, who lives in Ireland, and she was talking about St. Bridget's Day 2024. Evening of Thursday, February 1st through February 2nd. It's a bank holiday, and it's the Saints' feast day is 1 of February, and traditionally involves weaving, Bridget's crosses, and many other folk customs. It was originally a pre-Christian festival called Imbolc, marking the beginning of spring. From 2023, it is a public holiday in the Republic of Ireland. And here we have Bridget of Kildare. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Happy St. Bridget's Day. It's February 1st today. Of course, it's evening there now, but we can celebrate it here as well. So I hope you're well. I hope the 2024 has been kind to you, and I hope you have a great February. I'm sort of a dilettante when it comes to my channel. I try to post twice. My goal for this year was to post twice a month. Sometimes I'll get on a roll and I'll do every week, but then I sort of get burned out and then I take a long break. So I'm trying to be more moderate and, you know, put out a video every couple of weeks, you know, hopefully twice a month. So I only got one out in January, but today's the 1st of February, so I'm pretty close. So yeah, I hope you're well. This is a new setting for me, so I hope it looks okay. I picked up some flowers yesterday at the grocery store. They had a pretty nice, they weren't too expensive. Yeah, there's Gerber daisies in there. Little like tea roses, some mums, and yeah, I buy flowers every now and then. It's like a little splurge, but I feel like it makes me happy, and so when they have a pretty good price on flowers, I always pick up a bunch. But enough of that. I'm sitting down here with my girl. She's in her spot, and I thought I'd chat with you today about some of my finished objects, some of my works in progress, and some new things that came my way since the last time I spoke to you. So I have not one but two finished cardigans to show off today. The first one I'm wearing, this is the Felix cardigan by Amy Christoffers. This is size 2. I knit 2 of these. I knit one of these in this Green Mountain Spinnery Mountain Mohair, and then the second one is out of hand-spun singles. So if you've been following me for a while, you saw that I had been spinning some Coopworth cross wool dyed in shades of cranberry red. It's got some bamboo in there too. And I'd been spinning that. I picked that up in the fall at a fiber festival, and I cast on for the Felix. Well, I had already started a Felix in my long languishing whip pile, and this was it. This cardigan was all done, but for the button bands and the collar. The sleeves were done, the body was done, and I just put it aside for, I think, a couple of years because I'm trying to take better notes, but I purchased the pattern in 2020. So, I mean, it could be, you know, 3 years. So if you remember me talking about this sometime long ago, if you've been a longtime viewer, Maybe you'd remember. I don't really remember. But in any case, after I finished my hand spun version, I thought, well, this is silly. I now know how to pick up button bands, and I can do this. So I'll insert some video here of me wearing it in with my iPhone so you can see the whole sweater. So this is my second, I guess you could call this here my first Felix. It's the wooden buttons here. It's so nice out here. You don't even need a coat. Literally, the warmth of the sun just feels so heavenly. I elected to go with the shorter length, the cropped length, because I felt like, you know, if it's too long, it sort of defeats the whole design aesthetic of this little cardi. So I think I did this one, the 12 inches here, as specified in Amy's pattern. So this was her colorway. I wasn't very creative in picking out you see how long my arms are. I've just got very long arms. But I'm pretty happy with how the button band came out. I feel like I picked up stitches pretty evenly, just right along the same row. I have some wooden buttons. They were stored with the sweater, thankfully. I did a tubular bind off. It was actually not tubular. I did an Italian sewn bind off for the whole sweater, the sleeves, the bottom of the here, and then also the button bands. So I wore this yesterday out to my knitting group. Meet with a knitting group on Wednesday mornings, and I wore this just over a t-shirt. Boy, was it toasty! Really, really warm. So yes, this is Mountain Mohair by Green Mountain Spinnery. It's a Targhee Columbia mix of wool, and I think it has 40% fine mohair. It's not kid mohair, but fine mohair. And this is what Amy of Savory Knitting knit her sample out of, this beautiful lavender color. I'm not sure it's my color, but it sure is pretty, and it's very, very warm. The only thing is this button here, for some reason, feels like it keeps wanting to, to move left. And I don't know if it's because the way I picked up stitches here, or possibly when I sewed the button on, I've sewn it just a little bit too far in. I'm not taking it out now, but maybe in the blocking I can kind of sort it out, but it's fine. I don't usually wear it 100% buttoned up anyway. I oftentimes leave it, you know, maybe the second and third buttons on there. Yeah, so I made the second size. I knitted on a US 10, which is a 6mm needle. I did the initial ribbing on the cuffs in the bottom on a US 8, which is a 5mm, but I did the collar. I went down 0.5 millimeter. I went to a 4.5mm or a size US 7 for the collar, because I found that to work out really nice for my hand spun version. So I noticed that a lot of sweaters, especially top-down sweaters, they tend to have these really large necks and open necks. And I know there's things you can do to mitigate that, or if maybe you don't want it super tight, but I didn't want it to be too open. I'm wearing a boat neck t-shirt under here, so maybe not the best, and it's like a teal blue, but yeah, I'm really happy with it. I knit it to pattern. It blocked out. It's so, I'm sure next to skin it might be a little itchy because of the mohair, but after washing it was just really, it's just a very soft feeling sweater. It's knitted a pretty loose gauge. This is considered a worsted weight yarn, and this is knitted at 14 stitches per 4 inches or 10 centimeters, which is a larger gauge. But the wool, I think can be knit at a variety of gauges because of the nature of the wool, and then the mohair, I think it just fills it in nicely. As a matter of fact, on the Green Mountain Spinnery website, they have a wide range of needle sizes and gauges. And I'm already thinking I want to make another cardigan out of this yarn. And I have one picked out. I'll show it to you. It's in a new book that I just received in the mail a couple of days ago. So let me show you my, I'll go presto changeo, and I will show you my hand spun version. Here's my second Felix that I completed the last couple of weeks. This is made out of hand spun yarn, singles yarn that I spun up on I have a Meiju Craft Aura, which is a really great, turn around here, show it to you a little bit. I have a Meiju Craft Aura that's great for spinning art yarns and thicker singles. Just got low ratios, and the drive system is just very conducive to spinning a beautiful singles. So I have a few skeins, little skeins left. I've got this one. This was the sample. You can see there's some shine to it. That's because it's Coopworth cross wool, which is a long wool, and bamboo. It's got 15% bamboo. So it does have a nice shine to it. Luster. It's got a nice drape as well. I have a significant amount, not a ton, but I've got a cake here. And then just a little oddments here. I'm thinking I'm going to make a hat. I'm thinking of making a beret or some sort of little, or toque. So yeah, this is feels lovely also. And it was so funny because I laid out both sweaters on my bed and I measured, and they're exactly the same size this way. This one's got a little bit more length, a tad, but the length is 44 inches across. So the pattern has, the second size is supposed to finish at 43.5 around the chest at the underarms, and both my sweaters measure 44 across, which is pretty darn close to gauge. I was really, really thrilled that my hand spun did mimic the gauge for the pattern. I don't know if it might have been a happy accident, but so I have all my notes on the pattern page. So let me see what else I can say that might be helpful. I did mention the needle sizes. 10 for the body, 6 millimeter for the body, 8 millimeter for the ribbing on the cuffs and the bottom, and then 4.5 millimeter for the neck. I did a sewn bind off. When I washed the yarn, after I spun it, I just did a cool, quick rinse because there was some dye that was coming off the yarn. So I did a quick rinse in like a kookaburra wash for fine washables, and then I put a little vinegar in the water. I didn't thwack it. It is woolen spun, but I just sort of snapped it between my hands and then laid it straight to dry. I find that if I thwack my yarn, this is a thing you can do when you have a woolen yarn and you want it to have more integrity, more structure. So spinners will subject their finished yarn to hot water, then cold, hot water, then cold, kind of shocks the fibers. And then they'll take it out of the water and they'll like whack it against the hard surface to fluff it up. I find that when I do that, my yarn, well, it's somewhat fulls or felts. Fulling is just the first step to felting. And then I find it's harder to knit with. So I think one of the samples I did that I was knitting with, I had a hard time pulling the yarn off the cake, and I think that I was just a little too rough in the finishing. So it's a long wool. I didn't worry about it. Actually, the yarn was very balanced. It didn't have any twist. It didn't bias in the knitting at all. I even used the same yarn to do the sewn bind off, and I didn't have anything break, so which is a testament to the length of the staple. So it was a fairly long stapled fiber. And I even sewed the buttons on with the same yarn. See, these are leather like buttons. I got these at my local yarn shop. And then after I sewed them on with the yarn. So yeah, there's the back again. I'll post in. I'm going to go outside in a little while, and I'll have my vertical format on my phone. You get a better picture of the sweater. Hi, pretty girl. Come here. Come here. What you doing? What you doing? What you doing? Oh, bless you. Bless you. Bless you. So yeah, this is my hand spun Felix cardigan. Super warm. Yeah, feels just great. I think it'll be nice for like with a skirt or a dress. I know I have a t-shirt on underneath here that's kind of too long for it, but I think it's cute. Oopsie. So yeah, very, very warm. I'm pretty chuffed that it's hand spun. Yeah, I don't think, do you have any questions about the pattern? I'm trying to be more mindful of noting the size that I picked to make, and then to measure the finished garment to see how it matches. Because you can do these tiny little swatches. Even a significant swatch might not be a true representation of the gauge you're going to get in a large garment, once it's dried and hanging and the gravity's working on it, so on. So I thought that was really, I think that's a good thing to keep track of, just to, for future reference. So yeah, 2 sweaters. I was really, really happy. I got so excited about finishing a long languishing whip that I picked up another one out of my room. I have a room where I have out of sight, out of mind kind of deal. So, but I have another jumper that I'm working on that I'll show you in a little bit. But I do have one more finished object, and they are my Hot Cocoa Socks by Charlotte Stone of Stone Knits. So I found my sock blockers. My sock blockers are really cute. They have a squirrel and an acorn, and what else do they have on there? And a tree or a leaf. I think it's so cute. I did weave in the ends in the inside, but I haven't trimmed them yet. So I weave in the ends on my knits, and then I wet block, and then after it's wet blocked, then I trim them. So this was the first one I made. Just a super cute pattern. And then this is the second one. The second one turned out much better than the first because I was more mindful of my yarn dominance and the color that I wanted to pop. I made sure came from below the yarn. So I typically will hold the yarn that I want to pop, the pattern, in my left hand, and I pick and then I throw with my right hand, so that the pattern, the yarn you want to pop out, is coming from below, and it's creating a little bit larger stitch. And you can see if you look at the little snowflakes on the mugs of hot cocoa, they're much clearly delineated there than in this one. This was my first one. The other thing I did was went up an extra needle size for the second sock. So for the sock, Charlotte recommends that you cast on the stitches for your size. So for example, I cast on 64. And then when you get to the color work, you increase to 72, and you go up a needle size. So the pattern recommended a 2.25 to begin, and then a 2.5 millimeter for the color work. Well, I did that, and I had a little trouble getting this over my heel. It fits, but I have to tug a little bit, which is kind of annoying. So one of my viewers recommended that I go up an extra needle size to 2.75, which is what I did on the second sock, and it fits me no problem. It fits me, no tugging or anything. So there's a slight size differential in the appearance of the socks, but who cares? They're socks, right? They're on your feet. But Charlotte's such an artist and a creative. She has all these really sweet little details in her patterns, like this little color work at the toe. It sort of was a very motivating for me to keep knitting the foot, because I wanted to do that color work again at the toe. And again, she has you, I can't remember if you increase. I don't think you increase. I think you just knitted in pattern. Anywho, I'm looking at Charlotte Stone's book, and I want to cast on another pair of socks in the spring for sure. She's got one that have swans that I was looking at, and she has another one that has lavender flowers. I'll post some pictures here. So yeah, I'm thinking in the spring of knitting another Charlotte Stone pattern. It'd be fun to do a knit along, wouldn't it? All right, so let's talk about works in progress. So I found a knitting group at a yarn shop that's not too far from me. It takes about 20 minutes to get there. And yarn shops are few and far between here in my area. Many of them just they've closed and they haven't been able to keep their doors open. This one is doing pretty good. And so I started going. I usually go once a week or every other week. And I've been working on this garter stitch project when I'm sitting with my knitting group, because I have a hard time knitting anything that I have to concentrate on when I'm in company, because I'm such a chatterbox and talk to people. So this is the Sophie shawl by Petite Knit, and all these ends have been woven in. They just haven't been trimmed yet. I had 4 balls of this cashmere yarn. This is all I have left. It was by Plum Knit. It's a discontinued yarn. It's a 5-ply. No. I gotta put my glasses on. It's a 8-ply cashmere US needles 910. So I had 4 of these, and it was long, long stash I had. And actually a viewer suggested, here, I'll take these off because they're glare. A viewer suggested I make the Sophie shawl, which, who hasn't made a Sophie scarf or a Sophie shawl? So I jumped on that bandwagon, and it's actually been just a perfect pattern for this yarn. You cast on a small number of stitches, and then you increase every X number of rows until you use a little bit less than 50% of your yarn. And then you're only increasing on one side. So one side is straight, and then the other side is like a triangle. And then you start to decrease at the same number every X number of rows. And you can see that I'm very, very close to finishing. I was having a hard time reading my increases and decreases. And I know there's a couple of things you can do. Some people were marking the increases with a stitch marker. Other people I heard would take a long piece of thread and then kind of weave it in. Every time you do a decrease, weave that strand in so you can count how many rows you've done, so when you're ready for the next. I just went old school and used a clicker. Well, you know what a clicker looks like. As you can imagine, it's deliciously soft. Yeah, it's just really beautiful. The yarn had some issues because it's 8 plies, very thin 8 plies plied together. Every once in a while, I'd come to a spot where one of the plies was broken, and I didn't want it to ruin the texture, so sometimes I'd have to cut and then start over. So I'm definitely going to win the yarn chicken game, because I started decreasing, well before I had used exactly half, because you never know what's going to happen. And you certainly don't want to get to the end of your shawl here and then not have enough to finish. So yeah, really lovely pattern. I would definitely make this again. I actually have a couple of balls of cashmere yarn that I bought from Lisa Souza from Lisa Souza Dye Works. She had a sale on her cashmere, and I purchased a few balls to make some Sophie scarves. The scarves are the littler ones that people wear around their necks, because I have some sisters and a niece, and I'm thinking of making a few of those as gifts. Would you like to see that cashmere yarn? I had it last time, but my episode was way, way, way too long. As Ruth says in Ruth Loves to Knit, you can always, if you can't take me all in one go, you can always pause the video and return to it at a later date. YouTube will remember where you were, and you could pick up where you left off. Let me show you that yarn. So when I was a new knitter, I'm 63 now. I started knitting, I think I was just turned 50-ish. I have it marked down somewhere. And the first nice hand-dyed yarn I ever bought from an independent dyer was from Lisa Souza. And I actually have some of her yarn in my stash that wasn't knit up yet, but it's still going to get knit up. It's just a matter of finding the right project. But oh look, I found my clicker. I was on Lisa Souza's website sometime before Christmas, and she had her cashmere on sale. So this is Cashmere Sport, 100% superfine cashmere, 2 ounces with 200 yards, 4 to 5 stitches per inch. And the regular price was $36, and she had it for $26 for the skein. I know that's still a tremendous amount of money, but cashmere is really high. Actually, there was a little tiny ball of cashmere at my yarn shop, teeny tiny, and it was $35. It was just like 25 grams. It's like teeny tiny. This one is called St. Valentine, a beautiful, beautiful red. This one is called Persephone. I have a sister, my sister Stephanie loves blue. And she's kind of, every once in a while, she says, "You're going to make me something?" And I thought, well, I could make her a little Sophie scarf that's blue, Persephone. And then this is fun. This is Praying Mantis, which is this chartreuse green. And I got this in mind for either my niece or her mother, my sister. Yeah, I'm not sure. So yeah, I picked out these 3 colors. I thought they were a pretty good value for 100% cashmere. So, but I digressed there for a moment. I was talking about whips, so the Sophie shawl. The other project that I have picked up is my Skogafjall, which is a colorwork jumper pullover by Diana Walla for Tolt. And this is another one of these projects that I had in my stash. And it's, let me show you the pattern. Do I have the pattern? I have the pattern here. This is it, Skogafjall. Yeah, it's a bottom-up, typical Icelandic construction. with the modern twist of short rows. She has a series of short rows. And that's what was, that's why I put it in hibernation, because I was reading the pattern. You had to do wrap and turns. And I know, I now know how to do wrap and turns and German short rows. But I put it away because, I don't know, just got nervous about it. And maybe I was knitting it in the winter and it became spring, and who wants to knit, you know, Lopa Pesa when it's hot out. But so this is the body. This is hazel heather. It's a beautiful golden brown. And I have both sleeves already completed, and they're on some spare needles here. So I've got one sleeve and the other sleeve, and the body. I have about an inch left of the body. I have to knit the body to 18 inches. And then you do some short rows, and then you do the join. You take the tubes that are the sleeves, the tube that is the body, and you knit all the way around. I'll record that. When I get to that point, I will record that and show you next time. So, yes, so that's, I had a variety of Lopi colorways that I thought about using, and I decided on this. So this again is, excuse me, this is the, can you see the color here? Hazel heather. This is oat heather. So it's a warm gray, grayish beige. And then this is golden heather. So it's definitely going to be a low contrast color work. I had some other colors. I had this rust color, but I felt like the rust, this rust color just, I mean, basically they're almost the same tonal values. So I didn't want to use that. I have a couple of balls of white, but I really didn't like, just hold on a second here. Got balls of yarn everywhere. I didn't really like the starkness of the white for this particular project. And then I also had this sort of bottle green. So I thought, I'll get the three colors here for you again. I thought that would make a nice, for the tree line. I can show you the pattern again. It's the best picture right here. You see, it's one color, and then you do this, they look like trees to me, and then you go into the white or the lighter color at the top. So I probably should swatch. I thought of swatching the color work before I actually commit to see. But in terms of color choices, I felt that this green here, this green, this one here, is a very cold color. All the other colors are quite warm. So what do you think? If I go these three, or these three. So maybe I'll do, I have plenty of yarn, and maybe I'll do a little swatch of the color work, and maybe I'll change my mind. Maybe I will do. But I just thought, definitely this is a very contrasty because it's a cool color and these are warm. So we'll see what I decide. It is very, I know people either, they love Lopi, it's let Lopi. To me, to my hand, you know, compared to my hand spun here, or my Green Mountain Spinnery, Mountain Mohair, this is way, way coarser, rougher feeling. I'm hoping that indeed it transforms in the wash, and I'll give it a little conditioning treatment. And I think if you wear it when it's super cold and you wear it with an underlayer, but I have heard people wearing this next to skin, so I don't know. So I'm actually in the process of ripping back a row because I usually spit slice my yarn when it's like let lopey. So I sort of open up. Let lopey is interesting. It's really not a singles yarn. It's 2 plies of yarn spun in the same direction and applied in the same direction very loosely. So I'll take off one of the plies and I'll do it on one end and on the other end, and then I'll put them together. And then you, either using water or saliva, you wet them and you felt them together. And then you could just go ahead and knit. Well, it failed. My spit didn't work. So I'm knitting away, and I got to a point in my pattern, it's like all of a sudden the join broke. So it's just one round. I'm just going back around to figure out what I did wrong. Maybe I didn't. You have to lay enough of the 2 yarns next to each other for that to work, but no big deal. But I'm super excited about going through some of my projects that I cast on and that I just left to languish. So I'm going through them. I don't have that many that has significant progress. I'm sure I have many projects that were just sort of cast on and sort of half-heartedly started. But if something's more than 50% done and it's something that I want, I'm going to finish it. So I'm going to finish this, and I have a beautiful shawl, a Hohi Locatelli pattern that is almost done. The body is done. It just needs some edging. I think that's what I'm going to pick up soon as well. So stay tuned for that. But yes, I'm on a roll with my whips. The other project I've been working on is the Traveler Shawl by Andrea Mowry. And it's a shawl that she designed for hand-spun or hand-spun-like yarns. And here's my progress so far. Let's see, where's my front? That's the right side. Here's the right side. This is made out of a Noro yarn called Tsubame, which is a barn swallow in Japan, and it is the harbinger of spring. I'm knitting this in 2 colors. This one, which is, I believe this is color 8. And it's different shades of greens and rusts. Beautiful. I started with this, and then I ordered a second color. This color here is number 22. It's got a lot of the same earth tones. It's got greens and browns, burgundies, but it also has some orange here, rust, which also is in the other colorway, and then it has that beautiful fuchsia pink. So these are the 2 shades that I'm using. I started with the number 8, and then I decided to insert some more color. It's a pretty much reversible pattern. On the right side, you basically have 2 rows of it's stockinette and pearl. I believe they call this, it's a certain type of ribbing in the Barbara Walker's pattern. It's maybe welts. I think it's like a welt pattern where you do a little bit of stockinette, and then you do reverse stockinette, reverse stockinette. And it creates a type of horizontal ribbing. One of the sides has 2 rows, the other one has 3. I've tried to memorize the pattern, which is like, come on. It's like stockinette and reverse stockinette. But for some reason, I get myself turned around, and I always have to keep track on what row I'm on. But hey ho, that's all right. It's a pretty easy knit other than that. But I think it's coming along very lovely. I am going to continue knitting with this colorway until I get, I'm almost there, until I get to a shade that matches this color, and then I'm going to start this color again. So I'm just doing a stripey. Yeah, one of my friends, Sharon, said that she thought that if I did the whole triangle, the whole first triangle in one color and the second triangle in the other color, it might look a little stark. And I sort of agreed with her, and I also just wanted the colors. I wanted to see this pink. So this will be my Wednesday knit group knitting for sure, because again, it's pretty easy. You just have to keep track of what row you're on, and you can read your, it's a very forgiving pattern, so you can read your knitting, but you want to make sure your welts are evenly distributed throughout the shawl. So that is my shawl project that I've been working on. So that's the knitting. I've really focused on just a few projects so that I can have more success in completion of projects, which feels really, really super good. All right, let's talk about spinning. I've been busy spinning up some black Welsh mountain fiber, which I have it here actually. And here it is, it's a black yarn. I know, it's really pretty. It's a 2-ply woolen spun yarn. Spinning it long draw. I'm spinning it long draw on my Lendrum double treadle. And I heard that Mr. Lendrum, Gord Lendrum, is not going to make wheels anymore. I think he's been making wheels since the 1970s, so I don't think he's, I think he's an older man now. But he said that he would continue to make accessories, heads, of high-speed flyers, bobbins, I imagine. Though you can get bobbins elsewhere. You get like 3D printed bobbins, but I thought, wow, that's a blow to the fiber industry, especially now that everybody's getting into spinning. So yeah, so if you have a Lendrum, hang on to it, because I don't think you're going to be able to buy them anymore other than in the used market. Yeah, the Lendrum double treadle is just such an iconic wheel, and there's so many of them out in the world. So I am definitely going to treasure mine for sure. All right, off on that tangent. I wish Gordon Lendrum all the best, and I hope somebody, wouldn't it be lovely if he had somebody that would take up the business and continue the tradition. It would be pretty cool. But any case, whoops, here is my spin. I'm going to knit the Callias cardigan by Isabelle Kramer, and I'll insert a picture of that sweater here from her pattern page. I did a swatch. I mean, you really can't see much because it's so black. It's a real deep brownish black, natural black. But I have, how many spindles do I have full? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 3, 4, 5. I have 7 spindles already spun. I'm running out of bobbins, so I'm going to wind off the singles onto these cardboard bobbins. I have a bobbin winder by Shocked. I call Shocked or Shacked. And then I'm going to apply from these. So, and then this little orangey section here, that's just one of my contrast colors that I'm going to use for the sleeves. I'm going to do a little stripey detail on the sleeves, and I'm going to do a stripe detail around the bottom of and I'm going to use these colors here from Hilltop Cloud. So this is a very crinkly bag here, cellophane. So yeah, those are some nice bright colors to really pop against the black of the black Welsh Mountain. So yeah, one of my goals for January was to finish spinning all the singles for that sweater project, but I probably 50% done. it just seems like it's a never-ending bag of fiber. I started with 600 grams, and it's like every time I spin another bobbin, it doesn't look like, it looks like the same amount of fiber. So, but yeah, I'm gonna keep with it. The other spinning project I'm working on is for Cary of My Wool Mittens Sock Spin Along 2024. I think it's her 3rd year. And Cary's a lovely shepherdess who lives in Michigan. And she raises Shetland and Corriedale sheep. And she is just a wealth of knowledge. She's a wise woman who really knows her wool and really knows what makes a good sock yarn. So if you're interested in participating, I encourage you to go check out her channel. I'll link her below, and she's got a lot of good videos from prior years, helpful tips and tricks for spinning for socks. So at first I wanted to go the natural color route like I did last time I participated. But I decided I needed some more color in my life. So I have 2 possibilities for my sock spin. The first one is this beautiful fiber. This is, oh, it's so pretty. This is, the colorway is geranium. And it's a Babydoll Southdown alpaca blend. And this is what's left of a 4-ounce braid. Lisa, I don't know her last name, but the shepherdess there, her name is Lisa. And her shop was Socked in Farm before, and now it's Fleeceful Farm on Etsy. And she raises Babydoll Southdown sheep. And they're the cutest. If you want cuteness overload, just Google Babydoll Southdown sheep. They're only 18 to 24 inches tall, and they have these little teddy bear faces, and they look like they're smiling. They're just the cutest things. And she has a flock, and she has it processed with alpaca. I think this is 50% alpaca and 50% Babydoll, which is a little higher alpaca content that was recommended, but I fell in love with this colorway. And I actually purchased two braids because I thought 8 ounces, I probably need 8 ounces for sampling and so on. So this is what I have spun up so far. This is an Acreworks bobbin I spun up on my Lendrum. And I'm spinning it pretty fine as I can comfortably spin. image there. Tight twist 2-ply yarn. And then I'm gonna, when I knit the sock, I'm gonna hold it with a single strand of mohair, which is my other acquisition. Everything I talk about will be linked in the description box. So one of my friends that I made on here on the channel told me that when she makes socks, she spins mohair and holds it with the wool yarn when she makes her socks. And she said they hold up really well and they're super, super warm. So I went on to Etsy and I found, I think the name of the shop is Stocka Rock Ranch, and they have some beautiful dyed braids of fine mohair. So I bought 2 braids from that shop. This is the first one. Oh, so pretty. I think they use the Babydoll Southdown and this. I think they both use greener shades of dye, I think. I'm not sure. But this is 100% fine mohair. It's a little over 4 ounces. It's not super fine. It's just fine. Oh, it's pretty. And I thought together just to make a nice sock. I was thinking of doing a 3-ply and then having 1 ply of mohair, 2 plies of wool. But when I talked to my friend, she uses the singles. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to knit a swatch to figure out needle sizes and so on and how many stitches I need to cast on. I'm going to do a swatch and see how I like it. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about all this beautiful color that has come my way with this beautiful fiber. So yes, so this lady, she really, she probably gets it processed at a small mill. And so I still feel like I'm buying from the shepherd here. And yeah, the color. It smells so, so clean. And here's her tag. It was wrapped up in this beautiful ribbon that I'm going to use for something. And here's her farm, Fleeceful Farm. 50% alpaca, 50% Babydoll Southdown, and 4 ounces. So I shall link her shop below. She's got a lot of beautiful colorways. Spinning this in a somewhat long draw fashion, kind of continuous backward in my own way of spinning. Babydoll Southdown is usually fairly short fiber. I think it's about this staple's about 3 inches, and I don't want to do the inchworm method and worsted because it'd take me forever to get it spun up. So I am going to oops, sorry, I keep going out of frame. I'm going to be doing some B-roll footage this afternoon and tomorrow on Friday before I post this video. This video should come up on the weekend. It should come up, today's the 1st. It should go up on the 3rd or 4th of February on YouTube. So I will insert some B-roll of how I'm spinning this. Easier to show than it tend to explain. But I just wanted to show you how this fiber came to me. It came to me in this beautiful package. Look at this. This is 4 ounces. It's huge. And, you know, wrapped up beautifully in this ribbon. And, you know, you really appreciate that extra mile that a shop goes to really make the experience of receiving the wool and working with the wool all the sweeter because of the nice packaging. So yeah, I bought 2 of those. I don't know if I'm going to need both, but it's such a pretty yarn. I'm sure I can find a use for it. Make a beautiful little hat or something. So that's one option. So the pink yarn for socks. I'm thinking of doing just a little textured sock. Maybe something with a little texture, but nothing too fancy. And then the other option is some wool I already had in my stash some time ago. A while ago, I had purchased some horned Dorset wool from an Etsy seller. I think I have the tag. I keep everything in plastic bags for the most part, and I do try to keep tags or receipts with so I know where I got it. This is from Gypsy Mountain Farm. And this is a horned Dorset. And they were in shades of look at that beautiful foresty green with blues. So green and blues like this. I have 8 ounces in total of the 2 colors. And I spun up a couple of little sample skeins. This is one of them. This was spindle spun a couple summers ago probably. So that's the blue on blue plied together. And then this is the blue and the red. The blue and the red. Blue and the red. This is the blue and the green applied together. And I've been spinning these on these 2 spindles here. These are from a maker called Texas Jeans. They're pretty long spindles. They're very beautiful. And I'm spinning those. And then I just picked up another spindle, just picked up a Bosworth. A Bosworth out of my stash. And I'm going to continue to spindle spin this yarn. And I thought I would love a fully spindle spun pair of socks. We'll see. I'm going to try to learn how to knit toe-up socks because the only socks I've ever made are cuff down. But I was listening to Cary, and she was saying that she likes to do toe-up socks because when you have a limited amount of yarn or you want to use up all your hand spun, if you start at the toe and work up, you can get the most mileage. So I am going to try that. I'm going to try toe up with the Flegel heel. I guess there's different ways to do a heel. You can do a heel flap and gusset, I guess, from the toe up. You can do short row heels, but I don't find those to fit me very well. But Flegel, of the Support Spinning Flegel fame, has a web page where she talks about how she knits her socks, and she does sort of a hybrid type of deal. So I'm going to follow her recipe, I think. We'll see. But yeah, I have a couple of little balls of spindle spun yarn in here that I have to get all spun up, plied up, and some swatches made for that. I'm not going to do a colorwork sock. I'm just going to do a single color. But to match this fiber, let me pull out my colors again real quick. Take two of the balls out here. Yeah, it's just pin drafted. It's just pin drafted roving here. So when I was placing an order from Stock-A-Rock Ranch, I love that name, Stock-A-Rock Ranch. I think it's Stock-A-Rock Ranch, yeah. I picked up another braid of mohair. So this is from their goats, Stock-A-Rock Ranch. They raise the Angora goats. They have the Angora fiber processed at a mill. They did all the dyeing, so it's not it's from an individual, which I really appreciate. Here's the tag here. I'm getting a little glare from the window now. It's the first sunny day we've had in ages. Stock-A-Rock Ranch, fine quality Angora goats, Merrily Ford breeder, Sturgis, Michigan. And that was the other cool thing. It came from Michigan, which was, kind of, I feel like it's more local because I'm in the Midwest. And so this is just these beautiful shades of purple, blues, and green, not purple. Boy, do I know my colors. Beautiful shades of blue and green. That's what I wanted to say. So but I did start spinning the mohair. So this is, look how shiny that is. I'll finish up sharing a new book that came my way. So from my bookshelf this week is a new book that came my way. And the name of the book is Contrasts by Meiju K-P. She's a Finnish designer, and she actually has a YouTube channel here too. She's really lovely. And I got the idea or the inspiration for purchasing this book from a new podcaster I've been listening to by the name of Isabelle Duchatel. And she's a French woman living in Normandy, and she has a beautiful channel where she talks about her knitting. And she posts pretty frequently, I think once a week. I think she's in education. I think she's in academia. That's my feeling. She's just lovely. She has a beautiful, of course, to my ears, a beautiful French accent. And she says that she lived in the States for some time in her younger days, and she doesn't get a chance to speak English that much. So she films entirely in English. And she's just this, beautiful, beautiful knitter, and just a real pleasure to spend time with. And I guess her sons, one of her sons picked up this book for her for a birthday or for Christmas. And she had two projects that she made out of the book that I absolutely fell in love with. They were both shawls or scarves. And the first one is this one here called Pathway. So Pathway is it's got a reversible cable pattern. And Isabelle made hers out of, I think, a Hampshire wool, like a 3-ply local wool or British wool. And that's what it looks like. And hers looks so, so beautiful. I thought, wouldn't this be pretty in hand spun? So I'm thinking of putting in my project plans is to spin a 3-ply and make this shawl. I love the way hers looks. The other one that she had completed was a shawly scarf thingy for her her son. And it has beautiful textures. Let me see if I can find it here. The whole book is filled with projects that use texture. There's many patterns. I think there's 22 patterns, including pullovers, cardigans, scarves, and hats in a soft, delicate, and feminine style. They have been designed by Meiju to be functional and fit well. The pullovers and cardigans are mostly knitted from the top down, making the size easy to adjust. Excuse me, I sneezed. Meiju lives in Helsinki, Finland, with her husband and 3 sons. Even as a teenager, she never knitted from patterns, preferring to create her own designs. Later, knitwear design became a passionate hobby and part-time work, and she hopes to spark new ideas for beginners and more experienced knitters. And so there's just a stunning book full of gorgeous patterns. So let me see if I can find. She has bubbles. She has, look at this sweater here. In typical Len or Lina fashion, some of the photographs are, they're very naturally lit. But she does have a lot of close-ups of what the garments look like. This one's got this pretty textured cabled pattern. She shows the back here. You get a really good idea of how it's constructed. As far as I can tell, the patterns appear to be very, very beautifully written. She's got some hats in here with cables. This is the sweater I want to make. It's called Maya. It's this one right here. And it has these twisted stitches along the bodice there. They're not cables, they're twists, right twist and left twist. And it's made out of a bulky yarn. I think it's held with an Aran and Surrey lace. But I was thinking this would be gorgeous in the Green Mountain Spinnery Mountain Mohair. The gauge for this is 14 stitches, which is what I get with a 10 US 6. I'm just worried that it might be too loose a gauge to show off those twisted stitch patterns well. I was thinking of maybe going down to a 9. She calls for an 8. Going down for a 9 and then doing some math to figure out what size I should make. But yeah, I'm on a cardigan kick. I would really like to make that cardigan. And then she also has a beautiful asymmetric reversible scarf, and this is the one that Isabelle made for her son, and it is also very beautiful. So I've only gotten about a quarter of the way through the book. I'm reading through the book. I'm reading through the inspiration. I'm also catching up with her videos on YouTube. Look at this. It's with bubbles. I think it's a poncho with bubbles and fringe. I was debating between this book and the new Cary Nordlund book, Soft Timeless Knits, which I also would love to have. But I thought this one really had 2 patterns that I know I would love to make right away, and was super excited. I don't purchase too many things from Lina magazine, but I was really happy to get this. And I had a little trouble finding it. It's sold out in many places. But I was able to get a copy of this from a little shop in Verona, Wisconsin. So again, somewhat close to me, called the Sow's Ear in Verona, Wisconsin. Shipping from Europe is prohibitive, and the Woolly Thistle was carrying it, but she was out of stock. Corrine was out of stock, and I got a little bit of a discount as a first-time purchase from the shop, but contrasts. Really, really lovely book, and I can't wait to knit something out of it. lot of times podcasters will have sections at the end where they share what's been giving them joy lately, things that are not necessarily knitting or crafting related. Well, what's been giving me joy is a new composer that I found, and I'll link the playlist to this particular album in the description. And it's a Norwegian composer. And I should have looked up how to pronounce his name. I do try to do my best to do correct pronunciations. His name is Ola Gjeilo. Gjeilo, I think. Gjeilo. I think it's silent. And the name of the album is Night. This man works at Juilliard. I think he's a composition instructor. I'm not 100% sure on his biography, but my Amazon Music recommended some of his pieces. And this particular album is all solo piano. It's called Night. And all the pieces were inspired by his beautiful New York City, which he loves. Inspired by the twilight hours at his home in New York City. He was born in Norway in 1978, moved to the U.S. in 2001, where he began his composition studies at Juilliard School in New York City, where he currently lives and works as a composer and pianist. So all of these pieces are available to listen to on YouTube. But because I'm an amateur pianist, amateur in the true sense of the word, I love to play as an amateur, I purchased this book. And some of my favorite, the piece that I'm learning currently is this piece called Sleepless. So, yes, if I get brave, I'll turn the camera on and play that. But if you want some very relaxing, meditative music to listen to while you're knitting or spinning, I highly recommend you check out this composer here. He's amazing. And if you're a pianist, the pieces are not technically difficult. Some of them are quite elegant in their simplicity, but they can be deceptive as well, because you have to get the voicings of the melody just right, the expression. It leaves a lot of room for expression, and so technically it's not difficult to sight read through some of these pieces, but to play really well and with emotion, that's what I'm working on. So yeah, if you love music, I highly recommend you check out Ola's music, and again, I'll link that below in the description box. So yes, as usual, I'm going to have to edit this quite a bit. I hope this February 2024 is finding you well, finding you healthy, finding you at peace in your spirit and in your mind. And I hope that you're finding joy in your family and your hobbies and your work. So until next time, friends, take care, and I'll just say goodbye for now. Take care.